Hi, everybody. My name's Randi Sands, and welcome to Randi Sands and the Mediumship crew. As usual, we have Leanne. Leanne, you want to? And we have Michelle. And we've got a lot of guests tonight, which is amazing. We're blessed and we're excited to have them. And want to welcome the new people that haven't been with us before, as well as those that, are coming back weekly. And tonight's topic is on the 8 things that we should, as spiritualists, we should avoid doing. And bear with me, my back is out. So tonight we're using one of the very first sermons I did when I opened the Spiritualist church down here. So number 1 on the list is ignorance. And I like to call it judgment, just because I think it doesn't sound as harsh. This is the biggest cause of misery in the world. An example of ignorance of the mind would be condemnation prior to investigation. And we've all done it. Judge before we investigate and do the research. Now, if you want a good laugh, I'll give you a good example. So I remember when my wife took me to the Renaissance Fair. It was the first time I had ever gone to one. And I judged it before I even got there. And I was like, I don't want to go. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to go. And now every year since, I'm like, oh, the Renaissance Fair's here. Are we going?
She comes out dressed like a pirate with a big turkey leg now, right?
No.
Pirate with a turkey leg.
And an example of ignorance of the body would be doing anything we know is bad for us, whether it's, smoking cigarettes, whatever it is that we know is bad for us. And we're doing it anyways. Like tonight, I have this because I need a little caffeine, and it was the quickest and easiest thing to grab. So does anybody have anything they would like to share on the first topic?
No, that's a big one right now, I think, with online. Everybody's posting news articles from God knows what place and everything else. You know what I mean? Like, even sometimes you can't even trust Snopes or some of the things, and it's so biased. It's so hard to ignore. It is. It's hard to ignore it.
Well, and the problem is that a lot of things are being posted without solid research. It's opinion or emotion based, and unfortunately, everybody's on social media nowadays for the most part, and it can be a trigger, which is one of the reasons why we decided to do this topic.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add?
Well, I think people are just reacting and not really thinking about it. So they don't even really know what the true story is. I see so many conversations going back and forth online, and it's just people saying things. They don't even know what they're talking about or what the original story was even,
Exactly. It's so far off from the beginning. Yeah, it's not even relevant at that point. Yeah.
So their feelings are coming into play, and they're not thinking them through or really understanding what they're speaking about or giving their opinion about.
Mm-hmm.
It just adds to it. Just makes the discussion longer for no real point.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what can we do so that we don't get triggered?
For myself, I had to kind of turn off the TV because, and stop paying attention to like every post on Twitter or every post on Facebook. So for me, self-care is like, okay, I got to back off and get into Eve and connect to nature and spirit and all that instead of all this negative fear and stuff that's going on.
Good for
Absolutely.
you. Anyone else?
I saw a cat butt there for a second.
Yeah.
No, that's true. And, that's a hard thing to do, Eve. Because I tend to connect, with a lot of my friends and a lot of, my business is on, all that kind of stuff. And I've had to shut it down lately. And I tell you what, now I enjoy the block key too. I'm like, you annoy me. Goodbye. You annoy me. Goodbye.
Yeah.
it's not difference of opinion. I don't mind difference of opinion. We can all have our own opinion. It's just
Right.
that fiery, you can disagree with me. That's okay. Come at me with fact, but otherwise don't come at me. I don't respect that at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else? What can we do to prevent ourselves from being triggered? Because I'll tell you, I have been triggered a couple times. My wife is a healthcare worker, and I've seen some posts, people talking about how, masks are this and masks are that. And, I've taken a position that healthcare workers have rights too. And it's been emotional, and I caught myself getting, out of my spiritual alignment. So I also shut down the TV. I also shut down some social media and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, welcome. So with that said, does anybody else have anything else to add, or are we going to move on to number 2?
Number 2.
Okay.
Number 2.
So hate is a mental attitude which generates chemical poison in the body of the human that harbors it. No poison can be truly healthy that harbors hate towards another.
True.
The fullest
Mhm.
development of the soul is impossible while hate dwells. The antidote is love. Think about it for a minute and let it sink in. Hate is like taking poison expecting the other person to die. It just doesn't work that way. The funny thing is, in our lives, many of us, I know I have allowed hate to creep in several times. And the funny thing is it's much harder to get rid of than it is to get.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
That's true.
totally
Yeah.
agree.
Does anybody have anything to add on that?
I've never been a hater.
Mm.
Truly.
Yeah, no, I haven't really ever either.
Well,
That's just a word that I just have never really used.
Me neither.
Very, very, very seldom.
Yeah.
well, let's take it out of context of the word. We've all had strong feelings at some point in our time that were negative towards somebody. And I think that that's more what's being referenced here. Whether somebody did us wrong and we had strong negative feelings towards them and we had to work through it.
Mhm.
I think we can all agree that we've had that.
Yeah.
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 And it's easier to get those negative feelings than it is to get rid of them.
Mhm.
It's a big process.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything they want to add? Okay. The one thing that I tell my students, the crew, is that, as mediums, we have to heal ourselves before we can help others heal. And that doesn't mean we heal all at once. Please don't think that, because, we're still having a human experience too. But it's our responsibility to look at things and try to heal ourselves. So I tell them, if a name comes up or a situation comes up and you feel some kind of way about it, that is like the nails on the chalkboard to let you know that that's an area that needs work.
Right.
Oh my goodness, why? Oh, hold on, you guys. My computer's saying it's slow. Hold on.
Oh no, she's gonna get stuck under the desk.
No, I had to flip the
Oh, you're a
switch.
Don't stand up.
We were waiting. I'm like, oh no, she's gonna get stuck.
Right, with my back out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, thank God. I'm not quite that bad.
Good.
Okay, so let's go to number 3. And this one is an interesting one too. Gossip. It's the mental habit of discussing one's neighbor with a disregard for the actual realities of the case. It's destructive. It's the habit of pointing out the petty imperfections of others and enlarging them while ignoring our own imperfections. We've all done it. The antidote is pointing out the good qualities of others and learning to be kind. Wow.
Yeah.
We've all done it.
Mm-hmm.
There's none of us that are immune.
Absolutely.
So what can we do to get better at that?
You know, the one thing that I've learned, especially through the mediumship and class and everything, is really focusing on, you know, if somebody does you wrong, or somebody does something to you, or you just don't understand their actions, you know, really try to put myself in their shoes. And you can never put yourself completely in someone else's shoes to see how you would handle the situation differently. And I think that's important to remember, that is that you can't, you know, it's really not fair for you to judge their opinion. You just have to focus on how you're absorbing the energy. If it's not good, it's not worth talking about. You know what I mean? Even gossiping and bringing it back up is just going to keep making it worse. So kind of talk about your feelings with the situation and then let it go.
There you go. That was going to be my next thing is, you know, when things happen, sometimes we have to talk it through, but it's a fine line between talking through it and gossip, right?
Yes.
It's a fine line. So we kind of have to really watch that, because we're all going to cross it at some point. And hopefully we catch ourselves.
Yep.
Does anybody have anything they want to add on that one?
Well, I do. I think it's just, before you say anything, you should really think about that person and respect their wishes. You know, maybe, like, I have a friend that just doesn't like to be talked about at all, whether, you know, it's something that they did or something that affected them in their life or anything. They just don't like to be the topic of conversation. So that's just really understanding, you know, the other person and being sensitive to what they prefer, their preferences, and respecting them.
Yeah,
absolutely. My wife doesn't like it either.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like social media. So if you look at my social media or what have you, you'll see me saying my wife, but you'll really never see me saying her name.
Yeah. Some people just don't like it. That's totally okay.
And people laugh. They go, the wife. Yeah, the wife.
Meanwhile, I heard this one thing about Michelle Jack over there. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Slander, number 4, is the offspring of ignorance and hate, and is poison to the one who indulges in it. No one but an undeveloped ignorant can be guilty of this offense. Now, I find that a little harsh, but you know, that's the wording straight out of the Spiritualist manual. Slander is death of the soul. There's no antidote except to root it out of the system. Slander is like a cancer eating out the heart of the offender. Oh, how many times have we done that? Yes.
We have a definition for slander. Can you hear me?
Let me Google it and see what it says.
Okay.
No, I mean, you know, as opposed to like gossip, as opposed to slander. And I'm the girl that thinks too much, so I just want to understand the nuance of the word. I'm not questioning you or the statement. Just what does slander mean?
Slander's more like when you're attacking somebody with terrible language, I would say.
Yeah, it's defined as the action or crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation, which is great, because you're right. That does mean it's pretty close to gossip. Let's see what gossip says.
But slander, I think there's an intent because you know it's false, as opposed to gossip where it's like, I just heard. It could be sort of more innocent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just was wondering.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, in gossip, am I coming in for you guys okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Gossip is a casual or unconstrained conversation of reports about other people, typically involving details that may or may not be true. So it looks like slander is, it's not true. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's that you're going to gain something by it as well, right? Slander.
I've always attributed slander to hate. To me, slander and hate seem to be, kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. While she's messaging her, that was a good point though, Jennifer. Like I said, it's funny because I didn't think about it until in this situation that gossip and slander, they're pretty similar, just a little different.
Yeah, the intent, I think, with slander to be harmful.
Yeah.
A malicious aspect that
Right.
what you're saying, is an untruth, which to me makes it a worse, for lack of a better description, sin or activity than gossip.
Right.
Not that either are acceptable, but you sort of like you've dropped yourself a level or two for an intentional hurt with false information.
Right.
Yeah.
So that I like words, so that's why I ask sometimes for like, what do we mean by that?
No, that's
just so that I
important. That's
understand
definitely
it.
important.
That's good, because you hear about slander all the time on the news, right? But you never really know exactly that. To me, it means that somebody did something that they knew wasn't true, but to hurt somebody else and to gain something by it, right?
Mhm.
Right.
When
Right.
it comes to going to court over it.
Yeah. Now I do have the list. Well, she's figuring it out here. Let's see here.
Suspicion, she said.
Suspicion's next. Awesome sauce. Okay. So suspicion. I think we should do a good we should Google. Let me look up what the definition, because now you got me wanting to know what the exact wording is, Jennifer.
I'm sorry, not with everything. I mean, some things but I'm thinking slander. I think that's a legal term.
Right.
And therefore, with my background, I'm like, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I love words.
That was a great point. Suspicion is a feeling or thought that something is possible, likely, or true, a cautious distrust. I'm open for some of you guys have definitely some more information on, the spiritual stuff than we do as students. We're learning it. Such as she had a sneaking suspicion that he was laughing at her, or you get a feeling about someone or something. I know that a lot of empaths, get that feeling about other people, and it's I don't know. Well, I guess that's part of our journey we've been living, really, Michelle. It's learning the difference between when it's your gut, your spirit telling you, your spirit guides telling you, something's not right here, or, trust this or don't trust that. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's healthy to be a skeptic, to wonder about things if your gut tells you to wonder about it, right? And then to check out the facts to find it so you can dismiss the suspicion, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now these are, what are they? 8 things to stay away from, right?
To avoid, right? Trying to avoid. And that's a tough one, because like you said, I feel like we owe it to ourselves to not just trust everybody or everything that comes walking in the door. It's a fine line. But I think maybe the point of this one is really to just to trust your instinct on this one, your intuition. Because I think we all have learned that you're not wrong. You don't ever seem to be wrong about it, especially in a situation like this. There's a reason you're feeling that way about something or something or whatnot. So,
Does it
yeah, go ahead.
it then provide you as a spiritualist, because we usually are right about something, but it puts on you the responsibility to confirm or deny it, to do your own sort of like investigation. That's what I would think, because I do tend to be, I mean, generally I'm very open, but if I'm getting that vibe that says, something's not right here, it's not feeling good. Not that I'm going to mess with other people's business, but like, is that a legitimate concern for me?
That's
Oh
a
my
great point,
God,
because
I
really,
think,
there she
I
is.
think I'm back.
Yeah.
Hey,
Suspicion is something that I was telling Michelle yesterday. I think it's very difficult in our time. You know, back in the day when this was written, the world was a much different place in my perspective. They didn't have internet, they didn't have social media. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were I'm sure there were some bad people, some con artists and whatnot, but I don't believe that things were as magnified as they are today.
There's just more opportunity.
And I would say that if your intuition, if you meet somebody and you intuitively have a feeling, I would say to make mental note of it. And, you know, don't divulge too much, and, you know, see who and what they are, because sometimes our intuition can be off. You know, so we don't want to pass judgment before we know, but we also want to be protective of ourselves as well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody else have anything to add on that one?
Sure.
Yes, Tammy.
When I was younger, I always felt that, geez, I just lost my train of thought when you said my name.
When you were younger.
Right. What were you just talking about that right before that?
We were talking
Suspicion.
about our intuition. Sometimes it can be off.
Oh, right. When I was younger, I used to be the one in the crowd that everybody thought that I was like a biatch because I wouldn't talk. But what I would do in a group is I would sit back and listen to everybody to see who was more like me and who I could relate to. Like I was, you know, analyzing the whole situation rather than they were taking me as being stuck up.
Right.
But I always have to listen to my gut, and the best way to do that is to sit back and listen to people before I even speak, right?
Yeah, remaining neutral at first, but you know what I mean, going with your gut after that.
Right.
And you know, they say that whether you call it God, spirit, universe, whatever, they say there's a reason we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Does
I tell my
anybody else?
husband that after class.
Right. Does anybody else have anything to add on suspicion? No? Okay, so let's go to jealousy. Jealousy is suspicion gone mad. It's a diseased state of mind that generates poison into the system of the one that harbors it. Jealousy knows no innocence, no virtue, no justice, and believes in no trust. The antidote is faith, confidence, and love. Now let's talk about that for a minute. How true does that ring?
Well, jealousy will ruin you.
It's a joy stealer. And if you're busy feeling jealous, let's say with your mate, then you're not joyous. If you're busy being jealous of what someone else has, you're not being joyous and living a happy life. And jealousy also pushes people away. Many have lost good people in their lives over jealousy. And honestly, jealousy will not change the outcome of anything that may or may not occur in our lives. So, you know, suspicion or jealousy that maybe your mate's going to cheat on you, it's not going to change that having that jealousy is not going to change any potential outcome. What it may do is it may change the fact that you're not in that relationship anymore when they get tired of it.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any comments on jealousy?
I think it's something you grow out of.
Some people don't.
Yeah, some people.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, normally, people, when you're young and, stupid.
Relationship-wise, yeah. you grow out of
Yeah.
it.
I look at
Right.
my experience with jealousy has always been with, for example, myself, very different life path than my sister. Some people, what's the phrase? Their shit don't stink. And like she's I got to keep up with the Joneses type, and I love her to death, but I tell her all the time, you're so focused on what everybody else has and keeping up with it that you don't appreciate anything that you have at all.
You're too busy comparing.
Yeah, always comparing everything. I mean, like I said, and I've watched it ruin friendships, relationships, just her own mental sanity. So, like I said, even when it comes outside of being married in a relationship and that sort of thing, like I said, it can ruin your life. And I got caught up in it a long time too, but then you have to go back and look, you know what? She didn't go through a sick kid. She didn't go through a divorce. She didn't go through some of these things. You know what I mean? The life path is totally different. So,
Yes.
Well, I think it minimalizes that person's accomplishments too, because they're always looking to be that other person, and they're not seeing what their achievements have been.
Yep.
Even when you bring it up to them, they're like, yeah, but.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't see how good your life is right now and what you need to appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, and I've noticed a lot of jealous people tend to have confidence issues in my experience, and no matter how hard you try to give somebody confidence and help them along the way, sometimes they just don't accept that. And that's been a hard lesson to learn.
It may not always be, you said confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could also be the fact that they feel that they aren't good enough. They haven't achieved enough.
Yeah.
They're not successful enough. So I would say a lot of times it could also be self-esteem issues. I'm not a psychiatrist and I'm not trying to be, but
yeah, that's true though.
Just my personal observations. So there's a lot of reasons for it. I can tell you that I was in a relationship at one time, and it was somebody I cared for. And after 5 years of dealing with constant jealousy, I was done.
Yeah.
I was done, because if I came home 5 minutes or 10 minutes late from work, I had to deal with an hour conversation. Like, what could I do in 10 minutes? I was in traffic. We live in Los Angeles. Well, at that time, we live in Los Angeles, for the love of all things holy.
Mm-hmm.
There's traffic.
Get anywhere in 10 minutes.
Right.
So the reason I'm saying that is because whether it's a relationship or whether it's a different aspect, it's a destroyer.
Yeah.
It's just a destroyer. Does anybody have any more to share on that topic? No? Okay, so number 7 is worry. Worry is the moth that destroys the fabric of human endeavor. It's the builder of, the builder of bridges that are never crossed. The antidote is constructive thinking and optimism.
I laugh because this is the one Randy talks me off the cliff with weekly.
Weekly?
Weekly. Not so bad anymore. The farther we get into class, it's a little less.
Well, here's the thing. How many of us have worried in our lifetime?
Oh, God. Yeah.
Did it ever solve anything? Okay. How many of us can say that we have worried and we have gone over something in our mind? And now, you notice my hand's already up, right? And we've gone over something in our mind. It may have seemed like there was no solution to, or what have you. And we went over it in our mind and over it and molded over and tried to figure out a game plan. And guess what? It never even became an issue.
Yeah.
Like it solved itself before it ever even became an issue. Well, we just wasted that time and that energy, and we weren't joyous, happy, and free in that time.
Yeah.
You
This
know,
is my biggest downfall, is worry about everything.
and we were created to be like little kids at Disneyland for the very first time. You know, we should be living like, you know, a little kid at Disneyland. They're amazed, they're enamored, they're in awe, and that's how we should be living. Anybody have anything to add?
I'm open for any tips on how to not worry. How do we avoid it, guys?
Yes.
I just wanted to share that very few people have attained my status as a worrier. I'm a professional worrier. I've like gotten to maybe the doctoral level of that. And during waking hours, it's not as bad, but I find I wake up recently and I just worry in the evening or like in the night. And I tell people that are worrying, you know, it's a waste of energy, because if it's going to turn out badly, it's going to happen anyway.
Yep.
If it doesn't, you've wasted that energy that you could have put towards something else. So I understand it intellectually, but I don't know where that comes from. And I try to work on it, and it's always in the middle of the night. So I'm always reading a book, because if I lay there, I just keep worrying. So I read a book, hoping to divert my mind. My question is, where does that come from?
I got an answer.
It's obvious.
Overthinking.
But my first question for you is, are you for hire?
Do it for you? Yeah, I'm very good at it. Very accomplished.
I was a definite worrier. I probably had the same degree that you do. But here's what I came to realize, and it may be different for you than it is for me, because everybody's different, but I can just give you what worked for me. And maybe, I hope that'll help you. It may or may not. So with me, I realized it was a faith issue. And I wasn't having enough faith. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with 12-step programs, but I used to run an Al-Anon meeting. And the third step is really important, because you turn it over, whatever it is. But you know what? If you're constantly taking it back, then you didn't really turn it over. Right? So if we say, listen, I'm going to give this to Spirit, then we have to give it and have faith that Spirit's dealing with it in our highest good. And here's the thing, nothing ever turns out bad.
Right.
It may seem like it because it didn't go the way we wanted it to in our minds. But it never turns out bad, even if it seems like it is. Like I tell these guys about firewalks. So let's say it appears like it went bad and everything is in chaos and, oh my God, there's no way out, right? You're on a firewalk. That's when the most spiritual growth happens. And you get the honor and the privilege of being the first person to meet the new you on the other side of that walk. And I will tell you, my experience has been, after that, life is so good, you know, and it was just getting through that to have something better. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I would.
Could I share two things regarding that?
Yes.
I also, my scale, I also am a world-class gold medalist warrior. So one thing that I learned a few years ago when I was taking a meditation class, that the teacher told us that if you think of your thoughts like a train, so because he was teaching us how to meditate, if you think of your thoughts like a train and you're trying to meditate and you're concentrating on your breath, and then in comes, oh my God, did I buy this at the grocery store? Did I put deodorant on today? Whatever. You can get on the train and ride with your thoughts into Never Never Land, or you can let the train go by. And so I try to incorporate that with worry. And another situation that is unique to me, although I know there are other people in the world who have had a similar situation, but I lost my son when he was 17. And now when the world is happening, and I'm like, oh my God, if I start to lose my mind over whatever it is, my worry, I say, well, is it as bad as losing Brandon? No. Okay, then let's just go on with my day.
Yeah.
So I have that sort of perspective, I guess, but it helps me to stay off the worry train. It helps me to stay back in the moment where I am, as opposed to, worrying and worrying and worrying, which I've done. So those are two things that work for me.
Those are really awesome. And, Michelle and Leanne can tell you guys that I tell them all the time, your track record of getting through your toughest days is 100%. And I know that because you're still living and breathing.
Right.
And I didn't lose a son, but I just lost my nephew that I was very close with. He died of cancer just a few months ago. And he was 15. Thank you. He was 15. And like you said, maybe to somebody that doesn't understand it or go through it, it's hard to think anything could ever be worse. But I now that you said that, I can even understand what you're saying. You know what? When things are really tough, I can definitely see myself saying, you know what? It's not as bad as losing Tony.
Right.
I could definitely see that. It does bring a little bit of comfort. Like, I made it through that. We're still getting there, but I made it through that and getting stronger. And, that does help. Actually, it helps a lot.
Right, and it brings you back to reality, kind of. It brings you back to, the moment of being kind of in the moment. And out there going, oh, what if,
what if, right.
Right. And
what you have going for you as a budding medium is that that he didn't die. He just lost his physical body, because I had the privilege of doing an impromptu reading for you, which is online, and brought up things that there was no way for me to know. So that he's there.
I do, and and it's amazing because I've connected with him now, and now he functions as my joy guide when I'm doing readings and stuff, and it's an amazing relationship. I feel like I'm very blessed to be able to see the other side of it. But I don't care who you are, when you're human and you're going through it, it's terrible. It's terrible. It absolutely is. But you're right. Like I said, the worry, it's so hard to stop the worry. And one thing I struggled with, with learning how to handle the medium thing, because it's something I've been able to do for a long time, but just didn't quite know everything about it or what was going on. Was when Randi first said, kind of let go, let God, or let go, let source handle it. I wasn't raised religious, and it's not that I don't believe by any mean, but I wasn't raised to know the difference or anything. It just wasn't a big thing in our family at all. And so even now to say I got to let go, let God, that's a hard concept for me sometimes, but I now can get to a point where I let go, and I'm gonna let my spirit guide it, and my guides and angels, whatever, guardian angels, whatever it may be, I let go and I let them deal with it. And it helps. It does.
Word you want to use.
Exactly.
Let Randi tell you a secret. Randi wasn't raised that way either.
Right.
Randi was raised by an atheist.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I said, and it's one of those things where, you know what, I don't care who you pray to, talk to, whatever. But I think a lot of people think that to be a spiritualist, you have to be religious, and you don't. It's different. And I've had a lot of friends that kind of get hung up on it, and they're like, "Oh, Leanne's a Jesus freak." I'm like, "No, you know, it's different, you know." And and some of, you know, like I said, they laugh at me, and I'm like, "No, it's really not about that."
And it, what the kind of off topic, but it's since becoming spiritualist, like I've noticed too that my faith has gotten way stronger, like and I'll talk to my like Christian friends or my, you know, other people that are religious, and it's like, you know, they're worried about this and that. You're thinking, well, you know, where's your faith?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
You got to have faith that it's going to be fine. Why would you? And so that has really helped me a lot with the worrying. But I've always been, you know, I think that a lot of type 2 people like yourself and Randi, and I don't know about the rest of you, but that's a type 2 or type A
Personality.
Yeah, I think they tend to worry a lot, and if you've watched us enough, you know that I am not that way.
What are you trying to say?
Worrying for me was more like, I am not even wasting this energy that I do not have to worry about this stuff.
And I'm like, do penguins have knees? Somebody needs to look this up. It's 2 a.m. Do penguins have knees? So, I'm a constant squirrel in traffic. You know?
I'm
Crazy.
and there, she's right, because I'm the same way. The wife, right before this, she wanted to watch this worldwide concert that they're putting out because of everything going on, and it was recorded a few days because I was watching it one night late at night and I didn't even know what it was. But we're looking at it, and Miley Cyrus comes on. Miley Cyrus, you know. Justin Bieber comes on. Justin Bieber, like, what's going on with them? I haven't heard about them. I need to know what's going on with them. Are they? Is so and so still alive? You know,
Right? Oh, it's funny.
but I needed to know, and I needed to know right then.
I have a very good friend that is a double A type personality, and she always says, my life is in the details. I need to know the details. My life is in the details.
Yeah.
And so is mine, as you know.
Yeah, amen.
Okay, so let's get on to number 8, which is fear. How many of us have experienced fear?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Fear is the avalanche that prevents people from living their dreams. It's the dynamite that destroys the bridges of hopes and dreams. It's the worm that eats out the heart of the mighty oak and destroys the roots of a rose. The only antidote is courage. Courage is ultimately wed to hope. How many of us have lived our dreams or have not? How many of us have not lived our dreams due to fear? Fear that we would fail, fear that we were not good enough, fear of what others would think. Many of us can relate at some point in our lives to allowing fear to control us and keep us from reaching not only our dreams, but also from reaching our full potential. Instead, may we all reach for the stars. Woo!
Nice.
So let's talk about fear. Fear kept me from coming out as a medium at a much, much, much younger age because I was afraid of what people would think, what people would say. Fear kept me from being a business owner for decades because what if I failed? Fear kept me from doing a lot of things. Now, what I will tell you is I did accomplish a lot I mean, my mother, the one thing she'll tell you is I've lived my dream, but what she doesn't realize, because she's looking from the outside in, is she doesn't see all the things that fear kept me from doing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So let's hear your guys' experiences. I know you guys have them.
I had it big. I mean, like I said, my first being married, you know, my first husband, was bad. It was a bad situation. Fear kept me there. Fear kept me in that situation. But man, I tell you what, once I broke that cycle, left, it was like hell's bells, man. Let's do this. And everything, it did. And everything changed. You know, I swore I'd never get married again, but I married, you know, my husband, Larry, who's extremely not type A at all. And opened a business and just, you know what I mean? I was like, bring it on. Let's keep doing it. Bring it on. The mediumship was probably the last thing I had to deal with fear. Nobody knew. No one knew.
Yet she has one of the largest paranormal groups in New York.
Mm-hmm. That one I still kind of keep a secret. But you know, doing that, I still never told people that I was a medium, because I kind of knew, but I didn't really know yet either until I, you know, started having Randi mentor me and help me with it. But even my own family's like, really? How come we didn't know? And I'm like, really? Because you're the most judgmental people I ever gonna know, right? Yeah, I don't know why they didn't come up around the Thanksgiving dinner table. It's weird. No.
Oh, by the way, everybody, Aunt Gertrude is sitting here with us.
Mom said you screwed up the gravy. Yeah. No.
Heads would be snapping.
Right.
What about buying your first home? While that's exciting, it can also be very fearful, because you have this big banknote, and you know, while you're making money now, we never know what's going to happen next week, next month, next year, right? Like, nobody expected COVID to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's a big responsibility for an awfully long time. Yes.
Yep.
And that's
All right.
fear.
As the resident realtor, it is not a fear. It should just be, go ahead and do it. If you can't afford it, sell it. Okay. That's just my business perspective on it. But I said actually the very same thing to my husband before we were married, and he was pacing one night after like buying the house, and he's like, what if I can't do this? What, I need a good job. He was like a hard worker. He'd work a second job. And I'm like, you sell it. You know, you don't sell it when you're 9 months overdue on your mortgage. You go, can't do it. I'm going to sell it, you know. But that, to me, oftentimes the financial things aren't what make me fearful. It's when you were saying earlier about, it's like, what if I can't make it happen? And then everybody knows I can't make it happen, whatever that is. Oh, look.
Larry.
Larry and Susie.
Yeah, my son's college diploma just came, so they were showing me before he left.
Oh,
Yes, so I know it.
Awesome.
Congrats, honey.
Congratulations.
So that, for me, it's not money. And as a realtor, it shouldn't be about money, because you got to try your dream. And if it doesn't work, you know, I mean, don't be stupid, but, you know, give it a shot. I mean, don't be like, I make $12 a week. You know, don't do that.
I make $12 a week. Let me go buy a house.
I know, right?
$300,000 house.
I agree.
It'd just be me. I
Yes.
just moved into my husband's, and I converted our master bedroom into a dog grooming shop, and, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly, right? What's the resale value
But
on
you're
that,
bringing in
Jennifer? Give me your
extra
phone
income.
number.
You can afford the mortgage, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
Funny.
Yes, sweetheart, I saw your hand up.
That's okay. So it's almost like you're looking into my life. I like to jump into things at the most inopportune time. I don't know why, but I see fear down the road and I'm like, oh, I must go towards it. I don't know why, but that's my life. So as soon as the pandemic hit, my significant other and I, we were like, we must buy a house right now. So we've been looking at houses since maybe April, May. We got like pre-approved and stuff, and there's no houses on the market. I mean, finally it's starting to open back up, but I've been like somehow like, all right. And what I found helps is if I can control the controllables. So anything that I can control, great. Anything that I can't, it's kind of like all right, rip off the Band-Aid, see where life takes me. And the thing that I've been finding is it's not the money, it's not the exception or the approval or anything that's making my significant other fear. It's, well, what if we choose the wrong house? What if we bid on one and a better one comes along? So it's always kind of like that grass is greener on the other side kind of fear that we're dealing with right now. But it's with this fear though, the thing that I've noticed is if I can control it, great, I will. If I can't, rip it off and hope for the best. But that's what I like to do. I don't know why, but I like to.
Well, let me tell you, you're going to find a house. It's going to be a house that you very much are in love with. And I'm going to say it's going to be probably 2 or 3 months down the road, because a lot of real estate's going to be opening up. Because of this, a lot of houses are going to go on the market, and you're going to find the one you like.
Yeah, that's what I feel too. I know that we gotta just keep our feet here, and we can't jump too quickly, but the one that comes to us will know.
Yeah. And it's going to be probably 2 or 3 months down the road. Tammy, I see you.
I find that a lot of times spirit kicks me out of my comfort zone, right? And my instant right away is, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And then all of a sudden it sets in, and it's like, it hasn't steered me wrong before, right? So I'm the one to say, Spirit, you better have my back. I'm going to jump in with both feet, and I'm going to go forward and see where this takes me. But I've learned to have that quick little instant of fear and then see the bigger picture, what it could be. And I am always pleased with the outcome, even though it puts me extremely out of my comfort zone. I can then relate to dealing with the fear aspect of it, saying this is the human me, and I'm being asked by spirit to do something on a spiritual level that puts me out of my comfort zone. So I'm going to go for it, and spirit will have my back,
Absolutely. And like I said earlier, even if it's a firewalk and it's a huge life-altering change, it always works out for the best. And that's when we have our most spiritual growth, is through the hard times. Because during the good times, I tell my students, we're fat and happy. We have no reason to stretch ourselves and no motivation to grow spiritually, because we're content. So it's through the times when we're not happy and we're not comfortable that we do our most growing. And that's why we get those times, is so that we do grow. Does anybody else have anything they want to add on anything that we've discussed? Yes, hon. Oh, I think she was just touching something on her phone.
No. I wanted to talk. Wait.
Oh, yes. Come, please.
Hi.
Hi.
It's whoop.
There you are.
I'm not very good at it, but I'm just trying to know how it works. But I just wanted to say that, like, from all I heard, I'm like more brave, and like for like about jealousy, I'm I don't have any soulmate, so it's like I don't have that kind of problem right now. And my like I'm like anxious about being able to be a medium. Somehow I don't I'm just getting there, you know, slowly but surely.
That's how it happens, honey. That's how it happens.
And
It's
you're
a
not
process.
alone. That anxiety and that fear, I think Michelle and I especially we're right where you are. You know what I mean? Like it's constantly testing yourselves.
It's never quick enough for you.
It's not. And like Randy said, you just got to keep throwing. I say throw yourself to the wolves. You got to keep practicing. You got to just step out of that. And every time you do and you trust, the fear goes down a little and the anxiety goes down a little. I am the anxiety queen. So yeah, anxiety is my middle name.
The only jealousy I have is with the ones that can do it. I envy the other ones that can do it.
No reason to, because you can too. It's just a process.
Yes.
And it's that way for all of us. Tammy?
Yes.
I know that for a fact that out of all the people in this room that you're one as well. So
Yes.
I'm sure you would agree that it's a process.
Oh, for sure. And it doesn't come quick. It comes quick in spurts and then it lays back some. And then it comes quick in spurts again and it lays back some. I mean, you can have a lot happening and it seems like everything's snowballing and you're doing really great and everything. And all of a sudden everything just stops. And I think what happens then is it gives you a chance to review what the snowball effect was and what it brought and where you go forward from there.
And doing a little more self-work and self-care. I've noticed.
And to prepare yourself.
Yes.
For the next spurt, because like I tell them, I like to equate it to an apartment building in New York where it's bricks all the way up. Right. And if you're on brick 5 and in your consciousness level and you go to brick 6, what worked for you here is pretty much going to work for you here, right? There may be some minor changes. But if you go from brick 5 to brick 10 or 12, which happens, what worked for you here is in no way going to work for you here.
No.
So you have to learn the lessons to operate on this level. And then you have to get accustomed to operating on this level.
Right.
And you have to prepare yourself for the next progression.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, but I was wondering, is there like a starter level that I can make sure that I'm going there?
Well, I don't want to use this as a plug, but I do online classes, and I'm also going to be starting an online practice room where people, mediums can come in and I'll bring people in and they can practice.
And don't think that if you're not a medium by what you guys are looking at the definition that you can't come into the practice room, because you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised what you could do.
And the last time I was in a group and they were like all being able and they had like a lot of information to share. And I was like, I felt I wasn't at my place.
Don't judge yourself. My students will tell you, don't judge yourself by what other people are doing. Definitely. And don't judge yourself at all. Just be open and it'll come. And if it's something you're interested in, just reach out to me, on Messenger or something, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah, the problem that I found is that the other ones that were capable didn't explain nothing to me, like how they do or, how it started. So I was like, way too back there.
I see. You found the right people, because we've had that conversation many times in class about why, and I think Randi can fill you in on that. And you found your right people now, so no worries.
Yes.
Trusting your intuition and your instincts are the first, and having faith in what you're being led to believe. Our bodies are the best barometers of what goes on around us energetically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sweetheart, I
Yeah.
saw your hand.
Yeah, sorry. So the thing that that helped me, because at first, you know, I didn't have confidence, and not that I would call myself a medium at this point, but you know, I dabble. I'll say I dabble. But it was not so much of having confidence in myself, but other people having confidence in me, because there would just always be stuff that I would say when I wasn't thinking about it, that then they would be like, how did you know that? I'm like, I don't know, even know what I said. And I just let it go and we just move on. But you know, then Tammy and I came into each other's lives, and she was like, hey, you know, I have this great opportunity for you. And I was like, are you sure? I don't know if I can. And this was after I had gone through Reiki healing and everything. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. And the main, you know, thing that helps me is take your ego out of it. I am a channel. This is not my information. I am literally just a mouth. And that helped me anyway, is to have a group of supportive people who are there to give you the confidence when you aren't able to have it yourself. And then to just realize it's not me that's doing it. I'm just the vessel to deliver the information.
You're the middleman. And there's no room for ego in mediumship, because, you know, I could be the best medium that I want to be, right? I mean, I work at it, and, you know, I work on my relationship with my guides and everybody all the time. So I can be the best medium I want to be. But guess what? If spirit doesn't show up and participate, I have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just a middle person. I'm just a middleman. I can't pull stuff out of my hat if spirit's not there participating.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you find that right, like I said, again, you know, Danielle, you find that right group and that right crowd, you know, like Carol was saying, and Tammy, and it's true. It just it starts coming together. So.
And it's kind of similar. I was just sitting here listening, and you said about the Reiki, because I've gone the Reiki path as well, and I know in that it puts you in that mindset that you are just the channel. It doesn't come from you. It just goes through you, and it doesn't have anything to do with you whatsoever. So it's easy to take that mindset into the next thing. So I don't know. I mean, I just was like, I know a lot of people that are mediums have done Reiki in the past. So maybe that's with some connection. I don't know.
The biggest thing with mediumship is having confidence to say what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because the information is never wrong. You may misinterpret the information, but the information is never wrong.
Absolutely.
And also the other thing is having enough practice to where you learn what it feels like when it's coming from spirit versus when it's coming from you, which is, you know, a place of ego. Now, my students will tell you, I never read for them. Well, I can't say that because I did an impromptu for Leanne, which is online. But it was an impromptu. Like if they came to me and they said, well, you know, I want to hire you to do a reading. Because why? I have an attachment to them. I want the best for them. So therefore, my ego has the opportunity to come into play.
Because
So
I believe I want to do it, but I'm not sure that, you know, it's my best thing.
I think you just need I just really get the feeling with you is it's going to be a matter of finding the right people and the right environment. You know, that supportive environment is everything. It stopped me until I found the right, I call them now, you know, my vibe tribe. Until I found my vibe tribe, you know, nothing was making progress. I didn't know what I was doing. A lot of mediums will not share how they learned because they don't want to share it. They're not into teaching other mediums how to become mediums. They're into being a medium themselves and capitalizing on that, and
well,
that's,
then I'm doing something wrong because I give you guys everything.
well, but it's true though. I mean, you've said it too. You want to teach. We need more mediums. There's not a lot of mediums in the world anymore, and I think that now more than ever we need more spiritual people, more of this out there. And so, like I said, it's fantastic that I found Randi, but I think that is such a huge thing to find the right people in the right environment, to practice and to learn with.
And it's up to you who you resonate with.
Right.
And as far as mediumship being right for you, it's right for everybody. We were born with that gift, every single one of us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That doesn't mean that you have to go and be a practicing medium and, have a clientele, but to be able to access, we were all born with that gift.
Yeah. Right. And just to be able to access that intuition and how it helps in everyday life, how it's already changed the way I handle things. I've mentioned it before. I'm that squirrel in traffic, go, 100% of the time. And it's changed me to the point now where self-care, what the hell was that? And now I force myself to do it today. Today I bought lamps. All of a sudden I got to redecorate the whole freaking house. And, I got 3 rooms ripped apart, and, I started doing it, and I'm like, you know what I think I'll do? I think I'll meditate, which is my keyword for it. I'm going to take a nap for a little while. So I go lay down and I meditate, I took a nap, and then I come back and, but that's so different for me that my kids, my husband have noticed it. They're like, before, get out of the way. Like, I'm not doing anything until I get this done. And it's changed me. It's changing the person I am for the better, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, if you need to talk, reach out to me on Messenger. I'll be happy to chat with you.
I can say for me, it makes me more mindful of like the thoughts in my head. Like when I get ideas now, it's like, is that like, why am I getting that idea? Am I supposed to act on that idea? Am I supposed to tell somebody? What am I supposed to do with this?
Who's talking to me? Grandma?
Right.
Right.
All right. So does anybody else have anything they want to comment on? Anything that we've discussed?
Yeah, I'd like to know how it works when you meet on Zoom, because I want to know like what's the
format?
routine. Yes.
Just reach out to me on Messenger and I'll go over all that with you.
Okay.
Okay. I promise I'll be happy to discuss it. I'll even give you my phone number. You can call me and we can chat.
I'm from Quebec, Canada.
Okay, well, we can do a Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do a Zoom together. Yes, sweetheart.
Me?
Yeah.
For myself, I'd like to say that what started me wanting to reach out to mediums and be more spiritual is after a string of close family members dying and me wanting to just, understand what was going on and, just feel comfortable with all that loss and grief. And it seems to me that, I wanted to say something when you were talking about worry. For myself, like I take a little bit of everything and get to a point where I take what works for me. Mm-hmm. And then, obviously, I know Tammy can vouch for this. I've come a long way from where I used to be, where I used to, I'm a member of Unity Church. I would go into church and I'd cry the whole service because I was just grieving and in so much pain. And, one of the things that came to me, somebody said, maybe you should look into A Course in Miracles. So I started looking into A Course in Miracles. And so now I got Course in Miracles. I got stuff that I've learned at Spiritualist Church. I got stuff that I've learned at Unity. And, like I was, raised Catholic, but I never really practiced being a Catholic. And like now I'm to a point where I kind of like grab a little bit of everything. Now, when we were talking about worry, one of the things that popped into my head first and foremost was Philippians 4:6. Be anxious for nothing. Now, I'm not a religious Bible thumper or anything, for myself, when I heard that, be anxious for nothing, like universe, source will, give me what I'm supposed to have for my highest good. I may not like it sometimes, some of the struggles that I've gone through, but it gets me to this place where I am where I don't worry so long. Like it'll come up, a fear will come up, but I'm not like holding on to it and letting it drag me all the way down to the bottom where I was.
Mhm.
And like, before COVID came along, I could go to church and be laughing in the back now, and it's not like laughing at what's going on, but I'm in a better space. I have gratitude. I have, I just am so much lighter energetically. And that was one of the things that, was told to me. If you want to get in touch with spirit, learn how to meditate, get quiet. It's like I had no idea how to get quiet. So I mean, I've made a lot of progress. Like I still have monkey mind. I can't meditate, but like different little things have come across. Like I've run into David G that says one day I was listening to him talk about meditation. He's like, I want to figure out how to meditate, and he's like, you say you can't meditate because the dog's barking.
You can't meditate.
Meditate because the plane's flying over. And what he said was like, that is the dog barking meditation, or that is the plane flying over meditation. So I'm not so much into how do I do this and how do I get quiet anymore. If I take 5 minutes and just read something, I can get quiet now. But I'm still struggling with the hearing the voice of God thing, but
So I have a question for you. Actually, I have a couple. So you said that you may not like things, but now let me ask you, when you look back, they're amazing, weren't they?
Yeah, actually.
What you got from them was amazing.
Yes. I mean, and the other thing I was going to say is when you were talking about real estate and making purchases, making that kind of decision, I have fear every time I have to make a big purchase. I can't make up my mind. I start doing all this research and I go nuts, but it's getting easier and there are good things,
Good. And here's my second thing. So you talked about meditation and how difficult it is. Somebody's got something going on in the background. So here's what I tell my students. You don't have to meditate. Now, when I say that, let me digress a little bit. Everybody works differently. Like there's mediums like Lisa Williams who will tell you she does not meditate. Okay. But there's different ways to achieve the same thing. You can go out, like Tammy goes out in the wilderness.
Amen.
Which I love too. But you know where I do my best meditations? And unfortunately, since COVID hit, I haven't been able to do it. So I've got the COVID fat going on. But I used to swim 2 to 4 miles a day.
Oh yeah.
And I would connect with spirit while I was swimming all the time, because what else do you have to do when you're swimming? Right?
Yeah.
It could be as simple as you're doing the dishes, but you're not in your normal state of mind. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I can't do the meditation thing. I'm getting better at it, but I'm a crafter. Like I'll sit and just like, hot glue the hell out of something, or I don't know, something. But that's my release. Working with dogs. Lately I channel more spirit while I'm working with dogs because I'm zoning. You know what I mean? I'm in my zone. So yeah, I think that the thought that you have to just sit there and, because the whole time if I try to meditate for a long time, I'm like, okay, think about nothing. Oh shit, I'm thinking about something. Shit, I'm thinking about nothing. And that's what I do the whole time. And then when I can remember the day I finally hit where I was like, nothing. And I was like,
oh my God, nothing.
I know. I'm like, how do I keep this? What am I doing? Okay, stop thinking that. You're messing up. I'm thinking that to myself. I'm like, damn it, you screwed it up. I got that in my head for a long time.
So let me ask you another question. You have light switches on your wall, yes?
Me?
Yeah.
I got pull chains.
Okay, pull chain. We'll go with the pull chain.
Pull chains.
Okay. So do you have confidence that when you pull that chain, the light is going to go off or the light is going to go on?
More cases than, yeah, most of the time, yes.
99.9% of the time?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're on a roll here. Okay. So let's take that pull chain and let's equate it to a switch on the wall, because I bet you your bathroom light has a switch on the wall. Yes?
Bedroom.
Okay, bedroom. Beautiful. We found one in your house. We
Yeah,
found
one.
one. Okay, so here's what you do. You ready? You have a light switch right here.
Okay.
When you want to meditate, you flip that switch, because your mind is already trained that when you flip that switch, something is going to change. So I've taught my guys, when you want to meditate, flip the switch, turn your brain off. Okay, just flip the switch.
Yep.
Make sense?
Yes, yes.
And it
Yes.
may or may not help you. It helps
Yeah.
a lot of people, but there's some people that it doesn't, but it's something you can try.
And I know I broke the cycle. That definitely helped work for me. But I downloaded it's just a simple app. It's called Let's Meditate. There's several different things on there, from easing urgencies to relaxing. And what I found is there's one on there that's like a deep relaxation. It's 19 minutes long. Some of them are like 5 minutes long, but I'll do it. And the more I listen to the same one, the more my brain starts to go, oh, I know the music. I know what your goal is. So I just start to slow down. And that repetition of doing it, really, it helped me get past that block. I've tried, like I said, for years to meditate. I thought something's wrong. Something is wrong, but it isn't meditation. But I finally did get there. Like I said, it's huge. Now I actually, like I said, somebody tells me, oh, I enjoy exercising. And I'm like, I like cake. I am not, to me, when Randy's like, I meditate during swimming, the whole time I'd be like, I'm dying. I think I'm going to die now. That's not going to work for me. But what works is, like I said, other stuff. Figuring out what works for you and slowing down and doing it.
Well, my thing seems to be the garden. When I'm out there doing that, nothing else matters. Just
Beautiful.
that.
Yep. And
Beautiful.
that's meditation. People don't realize it, but that's a form of meditation.
So get out in the garden every day for an hour. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Get out in the
My
garden.
address, if you run out, I'll give you my address. You can come do mine.
Right. And we have Jennifer, who's for hire for worry.
Right.
So we've got a gardener, we've got a worrier. Who else do we have?
Tammy will come hug our trees for a change.
Yeah.
I love you, Tammy.
So I mean, we've got a lot going on here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add before we wrap it up?
Nice
Yes,
to be able
Amy?
to share this.
I'm sorry?
It's nice to be able to share this again. I've missed during COVID. Tammy would run meditations, which were very good for me. I had huge breakthroughs, even though I've been on this journey 10, 12 years. I don't know if it's the energy of the people in the room. I don't know if it's Tammy's great word, mellifluous. I can't even say it. I'm too tired.
It's spirit.
Voice.
It's spirit.
Well, of course it's spirit. But my point of which is huge breakthrough. So I miss the connection. And it's not the same as just, for me, it's not the same as listening to a guided meditation. It's something about the energy or spirit that we share. So I think for me, it has to be more live, even if it is occasionally, that weird blackout thing where you still hear a voice and the person's face isn't moving. But,
right.
So this was delightful. Thank you.
Well, and we don't necessarily do meditations here. We do more topics on the Monday nights. You're always welcome. We do one every Monday night at 8:00. Next week, we have Stacy Schurman Kopczynski coming in, who I love. I adore her, and she's got a fabulous sense of humor. And we're going to be going over the Fox family.
Yeah.
And the Fox sisters. And Stacy's coming in every third Monday of the month. And when she comes in, because she's part of the board of NSAC, so when she comes in, it's either spiritualist history or one of the pioneers, like Andrew Davis Jackson will be coming up, and we'll get, you know, pretty deep into him. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a different pioneer from each state. So, you know, it'll take us like 50 months, but we're going to go through a pioneer from each state that paved the way for us, you know, to be modern spiritualists and modern mediums. So you're always welcome.
Yes.
And you can always find the link either on the Facebook page, or I'm sure Tammy will share it with you, because Tammy's in every week. We love her. She's become like an extended part of the mediumship crew.
Thank you.
And as far as like talking as for, you know, for Jack and myself, I love talking to other, you know, Jack's like, whatever, go ahead, Leanne. I like meeting other mediums, other spiritualists, because we're learning so much from you guys, you know, just different little things. You know, it all helps. All of it helps. So that it's awesome to meet everybody.
And I'm sure Tammy would agree. For us, it's fabulous too, because you know what? I used to be a sales manager in Fortune 500 companies back in the day. And I would learn some of the best material from people I hired that had zero experience. Not only that, but they would remind me of things that I forgot. So when I talk to all of you guys, I'm still learning, and or it's bringing back something that maybe I haven't thought about for a while. I mean, there's a benefit all the way around. And that's why, like the online spiritual book club I have, I love it because it keeps me reading. It keeps me learning. I absolutely love it. And that's why I do it.
We can teach our experiences, but then we are always students.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And, you know, I tell them I'm a forever student, because we can never learn everything in a lifetime. We can't.
And I think different things resonate at different points of our life. Something that you might not have been interested in 20 years ago, all of a sudden you have that, like, why am I seeing 9 things that are coincidences that lead me to the same topic?
Exactly.
Oh, honey, years ago, try 6 months ago.
No coincidences, only synchronicities.
Right.
There's things that my wife will try to, you know, bring to me. You know, and she's spiritual. She's, you know, got her master's in Chinese medicine. She's also in respiratory. You know, so she's very spiritual. And there's things that she'll pose to me and I'll be like, right? 6 months later, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do, and she's looking at me like, have you lost your mind? And I'm like, well, that was then, this is now. But it always happens like that. You know, it's when we're ready.
Yeah, and I think Randy took
your noise.
Cujo noise.
Your angry Cujo noise, yeah.
Oh, no.
She makes the best angry dog noise. Come on, Michelle. The type A is putting the type B on the spot. Come on.
I can't do it now.
Good. I was hoping you wouldn't embarrass yourself.
I'll record it for you guys.
I was really hoping you weren't going to embarrass yourself. Save that for our comedy channel. That's where that belongs.
Right.
Because we do have a comedy channel.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I think what we'll do is we'll close it down for tonight. And again, you know, thank you guys for joining us, because it makes it more interesting. We get more perspectives. We get,
It's
more ideas, and we get to go into deeper conversation. So that's why we took it off of Facebook Live, because all we could do was read what everybody posted. And this way it's more personal. We get to see your beautiful faces, which we don't get to see on Facebook Live. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
more like a community.
Yeah, exactly. And Monday night topic, that's what we want it to be like. And that's why we brought it to Zoom. So thank you for joining us. And may all of you have the most amazing week. May you have a week that's as amazing as each one of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Good night,
Have a
everyone.
good night, guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.